Good evening, my brother.
What's up, my brother? How's everything going?
All beautiful, all beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and open the thing and get it going here. I just played that the prelude to reparation. All right, give me 1 minute. I'll bring you right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to the Black Muse Network, the real voice of Black USA. You know, in the 1970s, they took away our factories. If you want to know what I mean, you need to go up to Detroit. You'll see that the major industries and factories closed. And then they decided that in the 1980s, it was time for us to go to college. So let's admit some of these black folks in the Yale and Harvard and all these prestigious universities so we can get them an education. And then after we get them an education, we keep them in debt and give them the job that they deserve, qualify for. In the 1990s, here comes Bill Clinton with the crime war bill, where they started looking at what they call, or want to call, super prisons. And they started putting out people in prison. And many of those black folks went to prison for very crimes. Here comes the crack into our communities by the CIA to further diminish the power of black men to have a job. And by them doing that, they eventually erased our opportunity. So now you wonder why white folks earn 10 times more than black people. Because they have made sure that we are not qualified to get into those categories that they have been privileged to. Today, our topic is about reparations. I want to welcome you to Black News Network again, BNN 247. We are bringing you the news from a black perspective and definitely about what makes our life better. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. I would like to introduce some and present to others our co-host and my friend, Mr. Claude. I want to thank him for being a part of our operation here with the Black News Network, and I want to invite him to come in with his understanding of what we're talking about today, and that is the reparation of Black America. So welcome, Mr. Claude. Give us your synopsis of what we want to get into. Heard you first when you first came. They hear you. They something too. Back your voice was away. Okay, click on something or turn something a different way, because if you're, I can see. Let's see. Is something going on with your microphone? I don't think it's me because I can see where you're open right here on mine. Everything looks good over here. Okay, can you try going out and coming back? 'Cause I don't know what happened with the Claude. We're still trying to get Mr. Claude up and running, and it might take a second. But in the meantime, you can definitely reach us at 210-241-5493 and give us a call about your concerns about reparations and what we are going to be getting whenever they decide to give us reparations. But today we're kind of talking about how we have allowed this country to help other countries do a lot of things, and we have not done those things for ourselves. That is something we're trying to get worked out and make sure that we can do it. Let's see. Can't unmute your guest because
Can you hear me now?
All right, now I can hear you. Go ahead, Mr. Claude. I can hear you now.
No, what a wonderful topic. Reparation.
Reparation. You have a volume control. I can hear you, but I was just wondering if you could turn it up.
Can you hear me now?
It don't matter. I can hear you well.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, I mean, yeah, reparations would be, some people say affirmative action is reparation. When you look at a lot of the government programs, that's a form of reparations. Money is just one form of it. And I think our government is reluctant to open up them doors and give us cash money because they'll fall back on the fact of all the different programs and all the black colleges are a form of reparation. The government funding historically black colleges and universities are a form of reparation. So I don't think that we'll ever see the reparations because I think most people, if you talk to the average citizen today, most people think that we should be compensated for our labor. Like slave owners were compensated when they lost their slaves. I know Great Britain compensated the slave owners. The United States compensated the slave owners. So I don't think that we'll ever see that form of reparations. I really don't. Not in our lifetime.
Kind of looks like we're not going to get the compensation we're expecting to get. And as you mentioned, it is a form of equal opportunity, and it's only going to bring meaningful life to our people. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. And if you look at the Declaration of Independence, all it says, it talks about how we are all created equal. But you and I know that billions of dollars were made over the course of slavery. Trillions, probably. And that money has trickled into the hands of our white American associates here in this country. And none of that money has benefited us in the form of payment for the work we've done to make them billions and billions of dollars that they have right now. And it's an indication across America that you see the money they made because the money that they made opened all these new industries, companies, and businesses that you see around the United States. We don't own those. And we don't own those companies because we didn't have the money at the time during the Reconstruction of America to build the companies that they had money in slavery to build this country during Reconstruction. We didn't have those opportunities. We didn't even have the opportunity to do very much, but when you look at the Constitution and you see the things like the Declaration of Independence saying that we all are created equal and we want to live the life and liberty of an American citizen, it just hadn't happened for us. So when we talk about reparations, it ain't something that we need to sweep under the rug. is something that we need to put out front and talk about why we are 10 times behind the wealth of white America. And that is a sad damn story. And we're 7 times behind the wealth of white America, even with the college degree. I mean, all we want to do is restore ourselves to where we're supposed to be.
But I think you talk about that in the context of America's framework, and be it black, white, or whomever, America has the largest middle class of any country in the world, and it's that middle classness that keeps a lot of these other strategies from working. Like you can't bring down America because of that large middle class, and black folks are included in that. But there's a large black middle class that are not going to side with you. That are not, they're just not going to side with you because that's what makes America look different than other countries of the world that create these kind of government and steal money from people. I mean, like I said, America's got that government, and it's called the middle class. And it's not just a white middle class, it's a black middle class, it's a Hispanic middle class, it's an Asian middle class. And they're all bound by common interests, that quality of life that middle class America provides. And so I don't think that we're gonna, I think programs like, you know, let me throw this in to you. It's amazing to me when you look at our education institutions, when you look at our brightest minds, they haven't studied black philosophy. They've studied the philosophies of the Europeans. CRT comes out of that philosophy. Kant, and all these philosophers. And so our society is built around that thinking. Where are our thoughts? I mean, you talk about
saying we're not, the country is not built around our thoughts. So what do you think?
Well, our education system is not built around our thoughts. They're built around European thought. When our folks go, with some of our early intellectuals like W. Du Bois and Dr. King and all of them, they went to Harvard and Yale and got that European indoctrination. What Grant and all these European philosophers thought about society, about how society is structured. Where's the African thought? So we're trying to, it's like we're trying to exist in a European world, and everything that derives from it, even CRT came from white professors. I guess we think it's a European mindset, it's a European thought. And so I don't think that what do we learn in education?
Yeah, what do we learn to benefit us?
Yeah, I mean you come up with an option, and that's, you know, choosing the direction that you went in to get you closer to that opposite truth.
Right.
But our whole education system, our historically black colleges, when you go to Harvard and Yale, you're not learning about any other philosophers other than European philosophers. So your whole thought, your whole process, your whole view of the world is based on that European model.
And they go further than that. They withhold TV shows and appearances of different countries, especially black countries, to a minimum of being barefoot and in the woods and eating raw food. They show all of these negative things about especially Africa.
What I'm saying is, European philosophers, they're the ones that define what is. What is how we think, how we evaluate the world.
Okay.
That's what intellectual thought is. That ain't from African philosophy.
So how does that stop us from making money though?
I don't know. I'm just saying that I think that it definitely impacts our mindset.
Built from the European States is
I guess what I'm saying is, do we chase that European philosophy? Do we chase that European
the doctrine,
agenda
system?
Do we do that? I mean, whether it's CRT or whatever it is, do we chase that rabbit?
Okay, because our biggest issue is that we're trailing in all of the major industries, such as education, housing, business opportunities, economic. We're trailing in everything, and we're trailing because we are making progress, but we cannot make equality progress without reparations. We're going to always be better than they are within their daily processes, but without reparations, we're still going to be lagging in this country. That is the problem. They had billions of dollars of heads of stars with our money.
So I hear what you're saying, but what are we? Let's just say we got reparations. What are we going to do with the money?
I don't think it's our money.
I
think money is important, but money is the issue.
What are we going to do with it?
Money ain't going to do us the justice that we need. We need additional things in terms of reparations. Not only money. I mean, money is very important, but we also need land to go with that money. We need tax breaks on basic. Let's say we pay 1/3 taxes before we go out. You get a check, you look on your check, you already gonna see all them damn taxes that they've taken out of your check before you even got paid. And by the time you get your money, you're not where you thought you were gonna be. Even if you come in, you think, damn, I'm making all this money, and you're looking at it initially. And then when you start getting your check, you see that damn little bit of money that don't do shit because they done took theirs already. So right now, I would say part of our reparations need to start with the tax system. If you can prove that you're a descendant of a slave, your first initial reparation payment will become in the form of no more federal taxes. You don't need to pay federal taxes anymore because as long as you're paying, even state taxes for that matter, if you're paying federal taxes, you automatically lose it before you get your check. So for reparations for descendants of slaves, the first incentive would be to take away taxes, federal taxes. No longer pay federal taxes on your paycheck, wherever you're working at. That's number one on reparations. If we can get that along with a lump sum form of money and a guaranteed block of land, and that land might be in a place you don't want to go. But the fact of the matter is they afforded you the opportunity to own this land. You can own it for the rest of your life and you can will it to your family, but it's yours. So you still
do we take the land from somebody that's already got it and they're going to take it?
No, the federal government owns so much damn land in this country, it's enough to give all of them 48.
But they own land that nobody wants to live. I mean, nobody wants to live in the mountains. Nobody wants to. I mean,
could you be finicky if they giving you 40 acres? Would you fuss about where it's at? Would you fuss about it's in the middle of the damn desert?
If they gave me 40 acres of desert land, I wouldn't know.
You say, hell no, I don't want that shit.
I mean, what you gonna do?
There's got to be somewhere where you can damn habitate. There got to be something you can use, right?
I mean, if you're gonna give me 40 acres right next to a missile silo and out in the desert somewhere, what am I gonna do with it?
40 acres is 40 acres. I mean, where the hell do you think you're gonna
80% of people live west of the Mississippi.
So you want land, right? In a place that can be habitated.
Yeah, I want land that can be that is marketable. I want land that's valuable. I want land that can be developed.
You know, that should be added in it. I think we should start to compile a list of how we want it. So we just saying land, right? And you just hit the nail on the head. We don't want land in the fucking desert. We want land in a place where we can habitate or where we can build a homestead and do something with it. So give me my land, and it may not have to be 40 acres. Give me 10, I'll be happy with that. But the fact of the matter is, give me land in a place where I can use it. That's got to be part of the land request. And when we talk taxes, the taxes has to be very specific on how we want our tax system to be if this limit is in place. It has to be specific, because the only time, whenever we do get this reparation, it's going to have to be very specific, itemized, individual things that we expect our generations to benefit from.
I couldn't find it, but can you tell me, how did the Black reparations movement start? When did that? Because I grew up at the same period you grew up. So when did this talk of reparations? How did it come up? Where did it come from? Who first brought it up?
Well, I didn't get the origin of it, but I did go all the way back to what was old from the 1860s. In the 1860s, we had approximately $3 billion worth of slave and product made in 1860. It was based on the United States exportation of cotton. That's how much cotton they exported during that year. And every single year, it seemed like they created something different to take away from what we earn. I mean, they looking at all this damn money they made off slave labor, and there's no way you can calculate the amount of money they owe us to be accurate.
This is from the University of Massachusetts Amherst page. Reparations in the United States. 1969, the Black Manifesto was launched in Detroit as one of the first calls for reparations in the modern era.
The Black Manifesto?
It was formed in 1969. It was penned by James Foreman, who was a member of SNCC.
What is SNCC?
Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. It was one of the first calls for reparations in the modern era. So we've been calling for it since 1969. So
SNCC, which was a major black organization during the 60s and 70s, are the very first people to create a Black Manifesto.
Actually, says the debate on reparations reaches as far back as the 18th century.
Yeah, like
some of the first abolitionists in the United States.
It's talked about in the Emancipation Proclamation too.
Unanimously insisted that slaves were entitled to compensation from their former slave owners.
It started, like you said, in the 1860s. There are 4 Emancipation Proclamations. One of those Emancipation Proclamations talks about compensation. And in that compensation thing, you have to have, they said that the Black American slaves, former slaves, are given about 40 acres of land with that mule. But when he was assassinated, all that was taken, most of it was taken back. They didn't get all the land that they had given to some of the former slaves, but they did get a substantial amount of it back from the Southern General.
Well, here, if you got a second, here's a brief timeline of reparations.
Okay.
In 1825, France demands 150 million francs from the newly independent nation of Haiti. This is to compensate the enslavers for the lost labor of the formerly enslaved Black citizens who were liberated in Haiti's revolution. To avoid another war, Haiti agrees, and the burden of this debt limits Haiti's development for over 100 years. 1862, President Lincoln signs the District of Columbia Compensated Emancipation Act into law. This act offered reparations to former slave owners, $300 for each person freed. No reparations were offered to the former enslaved. 1865, 20 local Black leaders approached General William T. Sherman with a proposal for reparations. which leads to Special Field Order number 15, known as 40 Acres and a Mule. Sherman issued an order that allocated land along the Atlantic coast for the settlement of formerly enslaved people. This initiative aimed to provide a measure of economic independence and redress for the injustices of slavery. However, the order was reversed by President Andrew Johnson, and the land was instead returned to its original owners. 1866. After slavery was abolished, the Southern Homestead Act was created to give recently freed blacks the chance to become landowners. The law failed tremendously because fees and Southern white bureaucrats made it impossible for black people to reap the benefits of this law. It was repealed 10 years later in 1876. 1896, an organizer named Callie House establishes the National Ex-Slave Mutual Relief, Bounty, and Pension Association. By the late 1890s, the organization became the leading grassroots association advocating for pensions for people who were formerly enslaved.
What was the name of that group again?
The Mutual Relief, Bounty, and Pension Association, MRB&PA, attracting a membership in the hundreds of thousands. Federal agencies attacked the organization, leading to the unjust conviction by an all-white mayor jury of Mrs. House on unfounded mail fraud charges. No pension fund was ever established. 1946, Congress creates the Indian Claims Commission designed to pay compensation to indigenous tribes for land stolen by the United States. However, Congress did not allow indigenous people to have direct control over the process. Because of the racist belief that they lacked the capacity to manage it, in the end, only $1.3 billion was distributed, less than $1,000 for each indigenous person in the United States.
Okay, hold on a second. This was given to the Indians.
This was given to the Native Americans, Indians. In 1952, West Germany agrees to pay $845 million in reparations to Holocaust survivors, an amount that was increased to over $1 billion in subsequent agreements in 1988, 1999, and 2018. In 1971, President Nixon signs the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, conveying $960 million and 45.5 million acres of public land to Native Alaskans as long as they renounce their claim on all other Alaskan land. 1989, the United States government passes the Civil Liberties Act, acknowledging and providing reparations to Japanese Americans who were wrongly imprisoned in internment camps during World War II. The law authorized an official apology and compensated $20,000 to each surviving individual who was interned. In 1989, this brings us up to what we're discussing today. Representative John Conyers introduces H.R. 40, calling for the establishment of a commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. Conyers reintroduced the bill in every congressional session until his retirement in 2018, when Sheila Jackson Lee continued the effort. It did not progress beyond committee hearings until 2021. Having cleared that hurdle, it still wasn't brought to the floor by the Democratic House leadership, in spite of having over 200 co-sponsors. 1994, the city of Rosewood, Florida, allocates $2 million in reparations for survivors of the 1923 massacre that killed at least 6 Black residents and destroyed houses and churches. In 2013, North Carolina
in the movie. I'm sorry.
Eight people. In 2013, North Carolina passes a law setting up a $10 million fund to compensate the surviving victims among 7,600 people who were involuntarily sterilized. Many other people who experienced involuntary sterilization was excluded from the benefits, including those sterilized by county welfare officers rather than the state program. In 2015, the city of Chicago offers $5.5 million to 57 victims of police torture. The city also sets up a torture justice center to provide counseling to victims, builds a public memorial, and adds lessons about the history to the public school curriculum. In 2021, Evanston, Illinois has become the first U.S. city to make reparations available to its Black residents. That's the history of reparations up until 2020.
So give me that last piece one more time.
2021, Evanston, Illinois becomes the first U.S. city to make reparations available to its Black citizens. Now, let me ask you a question, and let's ask your audience a question. Why don't we have reparations in our majority cities where we have Black mayors and Black city councils? Why not Jackson, Mississippi? Why not Houston, Texas? Why not Birmingham, Alabama? Why not Black cities where Black people control the governments? Why is it that we have 67 Black Congress people in Congress as of this last election? Why hasn't they held a press conference and say, with our increased numbers, this is going to be our priority for the next 4 years with the Trump administration? Trump has said he don't have no allegiance to anything.
I can tell you, they have that because we don't have a coalition fighting for compensation. We don't have the people in place to say we need compensation, and we don't talk about it enough. We want most people that are in political positions right now don't want to even mention reparations because they think they might not get reelected after that. So it's a big issue to talk about it. No, people don't want to talk about it. So we got to put it back on the front burners and make people talk about it. And that's how we're going to end up getting the right people to say something in Congress.
I think I should send you this timeline and let you put it.
I wish you could. I would appreciate that. But I think that's where we at right now. We don't talk about reparations enough in order to get a fire started somewhere where people will do something about it. If we had at least one person to bring the issue up and start a coalition, we could start our own coalition and start a petition for our congressmen to start talking about it. We don't have to just not bring this issue forward. We got to do more than talk about it. We got to document. We got to say we got 10,000 people out of this one city saying that we need reparations, and we can do that at city council. And I think the start
but why isn't? But I hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why we got Black elected officials,
and they don't do shit without you telling them what to do. If we are not sitting in the city council hall, having somebody up there with their 2 or 3 minutes talking about reparations, our city council ain't never gonna address shit that we don't put on the table.
So what you're saying, the Black community, we need Black lobbyists, we need lobbyists, we need what is it that we're missing?
We're missing the lobbyists, and the lobbyists don't start in Washington D.C. The lobbyists start at your local government office, because, like you were just saying in your chronology, the people that made a change started in cities. You said there were a couple of cities that gave reparations.
For Chicago,
one was Evanston, Illinois in 2021.
Rosewood, Florida.
People in that city didn't do something to make this happen, it wouldn't have happened.
But here's the thing, I guess. Here's what I'm asking you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Black people elect Black representatives to represent Black interests.
Right.
What are they doing then?
They're not doing anything.
If John Conyers carried legislation all those years,
and if
Sheila Jackson Lee took the mantle, why isn't that a priority? Why aren't we talking about that?
The major thing we're trying to do is get votes. That's all we made an issue.
Why didn't Kamala Harris embrace that? Why didn't she run on that?
Because it ain't enough to win. You running on reparations are not going to get you the win that you're looking
Kamala
for.
Harris
You gotta
lost.
run on what, and I'll tell you how they figure it out. They go to artificial intelligence and ask, what are the major topics of our city? And artificial intelligence will do an analysis on what people are talking about, and it'll tell you what your topic should be. I mean, people are using this shit to the utmost degree on what they form their next move on.
But Brother Bey,
hmm
we have black elected officials
Which
at every level.
D-O-D-O.
They have the resources.
Say it.
I served on,
Hey,
wait a
they're
minute. I
not
served
doing
on,
our thing, man. They're not there for us.
I served on city council with a city council member. I served in a city council office.
Hmm.
They have the resources. They have the time.
Then why do you think they're not focused on it? I don't think that nobody is putting it on their plate. If you don't put this on your councilman's plate at the local level, then we're not going to get anything started. It starts at the city level, and I stand on that because we are allowing our city councils to run and operate without our input.
Who should be
We
doing that?
don't go and get involved in our cities as black slave descendants. We are allowing them to do what the hell they want to do without our input. And that is our problem. We are apathetic about joining the fight. And it is a fight. Anything we want in America, we're not going to change a damn thing without us pulling together. And that seems to be our major issue. We are not working together on any issue. We're not working together on reparations. We're not working together on equal opportunity. We're not working together on police brutality. We are not working together to stop any of these items against our people. We're going to church every damn Sunday and wasting our fucking time. I'm sorry to say it, because we're not handling the business of Black America, and we're allowing ourselves to damn be sucked into this bullshit and put underneath the table and forgotten. Everything that we need right now is swept under the rug. There's not one single thing on a politician's agenda to help us.
But whose
one
fault
thing.
is it? But who are you putting that responsibility on?
On
Who shares
us. It's on us.
on us, the individual citizen?
On the individual citizens. Anybody that you don't even have to have a voter registration card to go down to the city and say something about what we want. If we are not asking, we don't receive. And that's been the biggest problem about Black people. We do not ask. Even in the job, Claude, we go to the job and we perform our ass off, working hard every damn day. We supposed to be working hard, and we expect the owners of that business to see us and promote us and reward us based on our actual performance. But that's not how it works in corporate America. You do not get rewarded based on your performance. You get rewarded based on what you ask for. You don't get it unless you ask for it. And we don't ask for shit. We just do our damn job.
Well, I take it back. John Conyers asked every session of the legislature.
But who is he asking? He's asking
Congress.
people that are so far removed from the initial process. It's unbelievable. You can't just go to the car lot and grab a set of keys and take off. You got to do some
John
work.
Conyers started asking in 1989. This is 2020.
And he ain't had the support he needed to keep asking. He could have started in 1920 if he could have. But all I'm saying is, if we don't get behind something and stay behind it, we're not getting it. We're not getting reparations because you got one man up in Congress asking for reparations. One man ain't getting no damn well without the support of his constituents. And the constituents are right here sitting in this seat, your seat, and they have all these other seats at home and all them damn seats at church. Why can't one congregation take a damn congregation at church to City Hall and ask City Hall as a congregation to give us reparations, or to talk about set up a committee in the city of San Antonio to do reparation. Why don't we have a commission here? Why don't we have one in Houston? Why don't we have one in Chicago or in damn San Diego or Fayetteville, North Carolina? We don't have a commission in a single damn city working on reparations for nobody. Nobody's going to their congressman, or nobody's going to their representative, their councilman, asking for a seat at the table and to discuss reparations. That's where our problem is. We are sitting back wondering why somebody else ain't doing shit, or why one person in Washington got something to say, and the other 44 million of us are sitting on our ass and not going down to City Hall doing the damn thing. That's the start. And until we start doing that, we're going to sit around and fuss about it all damn day for the next 20 fucking years with nothing accomplished. Because we might have to do a city at a time. But if we form a coalition and we start to set a city up, and we can make it happen in that city. But we're not doing it. Not even Louisville, Tulsa, Oklahoma was able to get reparations for the shit they did. And the city at the end of the day said no. And the only reason they said
now, you saw the movie Rosewood, right?
Yes, I saw it.
Now, it was more than 8 people that got killed in Rosewood.
They lie. Every fucking time they get a chance, they tell them the goddamn lie.
But only 8 people got paid.
That's bullcrap. And look at Oklahoma. Look at Tulsa, Oklahoma. One survivor left out of that Tulsa massacre. And so now all they want to do is wait you out until you die. And who's supposed to get paid? The descendants of those people in Tulsa could have a national coalition going to support Tulsa, Oklahoma in their reparations. But we ain't doing that either. We are not supporting each other on getting this proof of ownership established. We can't even prove who's black and who's not. We don't have a 1994 descendants of slaves.
In 94,
we don't have that registry.
6 people got.
So where's the registry? How do we know who's a descendant of slaves right now? We don't. We can start that in our cities. I can start that. You can start that. Just trying to put together a list of names of people who have proven their manifest.
Brother, if your last name's Smith, you was a slave.
Yeah, but you got Smith. Yeah, you got slaves coming from other countries too, from Haiti, that former slaves, from Jamaica, from Cuba, former slaves. But those are not the ones we are concerned with. We want to narrow it down to show that you were a slave here in the USA during our slavery period.
But nobody that's alive today was a slave here in the United States.
No, you're a descendant. But how do you prove that?
Well, your name is Smith. You're a descendant.
You can't prove it just by my name. You got to prove it by my
So you got to be Smith. So you got to be Smith. So how did you get to be Smith?
I have no idea. I ain't saying I'm not a descendant of a slave. I'm saying I am a descendant of a slave. Then I can prove how I became a descendant.
I said by your last name.
Like my legacy all the way back to the Smith leaving from Arlington, Virginia. One of the Virginia cities migrating to Mississippi with his slaves.
But brother,
I know how that we got there. Huh?
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying, anybody with a European surname was a slave.
Well, that could be debunked if it has to be. Because there are slaves, there are Smiths in Mississippi, there's Smiths in Europe, there's Smiths in Australia, there's Smiths all over the world.
Brother, I don't care where they're from. I don't care whether
they Smith in Mississippi.
If there's a Smith in Mississippi,
it's a slave.
Your descendants was a slave.
I don't know how to argue that fight. I don't know. You're probably right. But let me look at something else too, Claude.
No Foster came over on the cotillion. Now there was a Foster that was a ship captain that was white who got slaves. But if you got a European name, you're a descendant of a slave.
I don't doubt that. Not at all.
Let's start right there.
Well, you still got to prove it. But look at some of the other benefits we can ask for too, Claude. We ask them for property tax for life. We don't pay any more property taxes. We don't have to maintain car insurance. Well, we probably have to do that. But We don't have to maintain all this bullcrap we have to have. We don't have to pay for Medicare, Medicaid. Everybody get free medical. Everybody get free education. Those things that we should get. And at the end of the day, everybody that's over 65 get a retirement income that'll be there no matter if they're working or not. If you're 65 or older, you're getting a stipend check from the federal government for the rest of your life. Also, if you're incapacitated, you should be able to get home health care. I mean, you should be able to get free mobility accessories. You should be able to get a free vehicle adaptation for your vehicle. I mean, you should be able to get all this free stuff because you are a descendant of slave.
See, I wouldn't call it. I think we should avoid free stuff and call it.
It ain't free stuff. It's compensation.
Just compensation.
Yeah, that's compensation.
I think we should call it.
In addition to all of those different things, there should be a cash settlement as well. Don't think we want to rule out that $1 trillion we made for our ancestors, but their ancestors. We don't want to be.
So how would you counter the argument of all that America has given to you?
Say that again.
How would you counter the argument that America has more than made up for?
It doesn't matter what they've given us so far, because it's not enough to equalize our lifestyle. As long as we 7 to 10% behind.
But they claim you're behind because you haven't lifted yourself up by your bootstrap.
Yeah, that's the bullshit story they want to tell.
I mean, America's based on that principle, right? That you can make it here if you just try hard enough.
Yeah, give us the same. Yeah, we're making it. That's my point. We're making it. I don't give a damn what. If we trying hard and harder, and we've tried harder, and we put more effort into everything we've accomplished in America as blacks. Muhammad Ali said it best. We are individuals fighting here for our equal rights and our civil rights. But how is it that every time you turn around, they want to send us to another country to fight for their equal rights and their civil rights when we don't get it here? We have to get our shit here.
But Muhammad Ali was willing to go to jail
for us to be joining the military and going overseas to fight for somebody else's civil rights.
So should we have gone to jail? Should we have done what Malcolm X did?
We couldn't. Well, you're talking about Ali. Ali couldn't have done what he did because we're not as famous as him. We would have been forgotten about and put in jail, and our people would have not have supported us like they do all these other issues that come up in America. Let's look at George Floyd, for instance. Everybody was up in arms when George Floyd was killed, and I don't blame them for being that way. But then you come up with Black Lives Matter, and then you get that created just like the NAACP. Some white folks created it and left us in the wind when the money started coming in. And there was some black people at the top too. They walked away with billions of dollars to buy whatever the hell they wanted to do, and the organization ain't did a goddamn thing. Black Lives Matter was it was a great idea and a great concept, and it proved its point. But all the money that they collected on the Black Lives Matter got fucked off. That's what it boils down to. We did not get that money. That money was put there for black people to do the best they can do in certain things, or for them to fight for us, but they ain't done shit for us. They did a lot for themselves. So that's where the problem is. Anytime a black organization gets started and start trying to collect all this money, but then they don't use the money for the purpose they got it for. And that's why we are in the condition we're in. We don't trust organizations to do right. Even the NAACP got tons and tons and tons of money from all the members that it has. But the NAACP ain't fighting for reparations. They fighting to stay afloat and to stay in the public's eye. But look at the organizations that are in the public's eye. What do they do for us? Not a damn thing. Every organization that did something for us got killed. For instance, Malcolm X organization got killed. The Black Panthers got killed. And it got killed because it was doing things for people. But see, the systematic demise of black people in America happened because we were getting too damn rich too damn fast. So they shut down all the factories in places like Detroit and started outsourcing. Then they shut down all the training in schools. So we could not get the training we needed to make a successful living. Now, you remember when they had auto shop, mechanics, welding, carpentry, all that shit was in elementary school, it was in high school, and some of us were able to benefit from that, and we made a lot of money. So the federal government decided, hell to the now, these Negroes are getting too damn educated going to our public school system. So no more vocational school for our public school system. They changed entire systems to keep us from progressing in those systems. They came up with what? Medicaid, Medicare, and welfare especially, to keep us from progressing in certain points. They came up with keeping the males out of the house. They came up with the drugs in our communities. They came up with the gun trains in our communities. They came up with the redlining to keep us in certain places away from the growth of America. And all these things kept us from progressing at a rate we should have been progressing from. They slowed down our progressions. And that was the key to taking away and supplementing all these different industries and processes that the government has. Everything was to keep Black people from progressing too fast. And we are fast growers, fast learners, fast achievers. And Black business are maintained and refined in Black communities. We got to expand our Black businesses outside of our Black communities in order for them to prosper, because we cannot survive on the Black dollar alone. And that's been the big issue. Black people don't even support Black business. I mean, white people don't even support Black businesses when we're in a community and we're providing a great service to these people, to our community, our neighborhoods. They see that it's owned by Black, they will go somewhere else just because they found out that you are the owner, and they're not going to give their white-earned dollars to your business just because you're Black.
When you look at YouTube and you see pictures of the South, where most of us still live, whether it's the rural Alabama, rural Mississippi, Tennessee, and you look at the condition that people are living in today, and all those places have representation, Black representation. I mean, Alabama is paying all kind of money for broadband, running wire lines and stuff. When they got satellites now, can bring broadband anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. You don't need telegram poles. These underground cables. You got satellite. But Alabama is spending all this money, making all these vendors rich to run broadband into rural Alabama.
Think about what's fixing to happen right now. The exact same thing you just mentioned. Every one of these major contracts that the government's going to issue is going to go to a white owner. Every one of them will go to every prime contract will go to a white owner. And right now it's going to be more prevalent with Donald Trump in office, because all of his constituents that gave him money are looking for contracts now. And they're going to get them. And they're not going to get no $1 million contracts. They're going to get $1 billion contracts. I guarantee Elon Musk is fixing to get double his money. He's fixing to get paid. And a lot of the richest folks in the country going to get paid. Look at Ed McMahon, the one from the WWF wrestling. He's going to get paid. All these people that he's putting up there now are racist and billionaires. And they fixing to be trillionaires right now with government money. I think his whole process is to take the money that the government has right now and funnel it into the richest Americans in the country. And I can almost imagine that's exactly what's going to happen when it comes to Donald Trump processing what's happening here now. When he steps into office, rich people are going to get richer, extremely rich, for government money. And the taxes that we pay.
You don't see no benefit to the middle class. You
Well,
know,
the benefit of the middle class, there is a benefit, but what I see in the black community middle class is abstinence. I see them wanting to put a
also you're
wall.
making a distinction between the white middle class and the black middle class.
Yes, the black middle class wants a wall between the black middle class and the black poor. They don't support, they don't get involved, they don't want to be around black poor people or black lower class people. They feel like if I'm in the same percent, I'm a rich middle class or middle class person, and I got a lower class person coming in looking like a lower class person with house shoes on, pants hanging down, just not unkept. Coming in, I'm a black middle class person with a suit and tie on, and I'm doing the best I can to fit into white society. That's how they. I ain't gonna say all of the black middle class got to that community, that level, but many of the black middle class got to that level because they fit into white society the way white society wants them to fit in, and that is the issue. They fit into the society. That's why they are black middle class, and in order for them to stay black middle class, they got to separate themselves from black lower class. That's why they move into white neighborhoods. They
So
move
you
out
think
of the hood and into city places where there's a high concentration of white folks because they want to live, act, breathe, eat like white folks. We don't eat no fucking sushi, but black folks are eating sushi now. I mean, we don't. It's certain things we don't do. We don't eat steak tartare. We don't eat raw hamburger meat and raw chicken. We don't eat that shit. But we eat it now because of what they eat. We want to be like them. Not all of us, not many of us, but there are the ones that have made the most money. Are you might well call them white. Look at Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas he's the blackest MO in the damn White House, but you cannot get him to say he's black or African American.
So do you think the middle class black people will want reparations?
Of course they will, if it's ever proven that we're going to get it. Once the ball gets rolling, that's when people get on the ship. But nobody wants to start the ball rolling.
So why would black middle class be deserving of reparations?
Why would they not? If they can prove that they are descendants,
You said that they don't have anything to do with. You just said that they don't have anything to do with the working class.
Not in the initial phase, but they're going to get paid just like everybody else because they are black descendants of slaves. They're not going. Once you prove that we can get reparations, then they come out the woodwork saying, "Hey, I want to get my check too." That's what it boils down to. They're gonna want their check too, and they're gonna get it just like everybody else that can prove who they are. That's how. I mean, I don't. I mean, just like when we do. Let's say they approve reparations right now. You'd be surprised. Just like when in 1924, when Walter Plecker came out with this American Integration Act, right? And he came out with that act because prior to that, Indians were being given reparations. Basically, they were not paying taxes. They were given all these benefits and all this land. But at the same time, white folks said, damn, if I'm Indian, I ain't gonna have to pay taxes no more, and I'll get all this land. So white folks were signing up as Indian, and they were damn taking it by storm. They took thousands, probably millions of acres because they were saying they were Indian. So Plecker in 1924 said, fuck that. I'm coming up with this here Integration Act saying that you can't, if you white and you claim you were Indian, your shit is revoked. And so it was revoked. And that's when they came up with two races, white and colored. And that's when they defined that America was a white country. They said, you either gonna be white or you're gonna be colored. So the white folks who signed up to be Indians no longer want to be Indians because they're considered colored. So they switched back and they made it a law that if you did do that, you better switch back before we find out about you because you're gonna be stripped down and you ain't gonna have shit. But if you let us know, we're gonna figure out a way to make it work for you.
But
But
do you think that the black politicians are part of the black middle class?
the black, hell yeah, they black upper middle class. They don't I don't see where black folks winning political offices are coming back into communities to meet with the people who got them elected. They're not
So the
doing
fact that we now have 67 black people in Congress doesn't impress you?
it. And you ain't heard a word about it. They're not gonna be in Congress long. They're not gonna be there and be effective with Donald Trump. So why would they go out and put their neck on the line when they don't have backing? They don't have the people behind them. The people got, like I said before, the people got to push it to them.
Representative
And
Crockett,
behind what they want.
Representative Crockett been calling a spade a spade.
So say that again.
Representative Crockett up in Dallas, she's been calling a spade a spade.
Yeah, it's a few, but they have no backing. That's the problem. We get the people to stand behind the people in Congress saying that this is what we're trying to get. We're trying to get reparations, and you got 12,000, 15,000 people on this petition saying we want reparations, and we're saying this is what you need to be presenting in Congress, then we'll get a movement. But we got no petition to back them on any bill, on anything that they can push forward. They don't even have an agenda to push forward anything black because we, as a constituents, have not provided them with an agenda. We're allowing them to do what the fuck they want to do without us putting down the facts that what we want. We always electing people without making it understood what we want. We almost are in a time crunch because we don't take the time to vet.
I think the problem is that in this two-party system, like the legislature getting ready to meet in January in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So the Texas Legislative Black Caucus is carrying the agenda.
Okay, what's on there?
I don't hear.
Nobody knows.
Well, you got to be. I mean, if you're a Democrat, you should know.
But do you know? I don't know what their agenda is. I don't believe it's anything got nothing to do with reparations or us being black.
No, I'm talking about in Texas. I mean, who represents you? Who's your black representative in Bexar County?
Shit, I don't know.
Barbara Hawkins.
I couldn't tell you. I know. I know the city councilman. I know the state representative for Bexar County. For Region 120 is Barbara Hawkins.
Right. So she is the black representative representing.
But her agendas are not for what the people want. It's what she wants. You know,
well, no,
she doesn't have an agenda from the people. That's the problem. The agenda is her agenda, not from the people. It's hers. People go into political offices for what they want to do, and they try and run on what they want to do, but ain't none of it got any damn concrete value. Not a single thing that even look at what Kamala Harris is running on. No concrete value of anything. Same with
she was supporting abortion.
So what's that got to do with black people? Nothing.
That's my point.
Nobody's running on things that we want because we're not giving them the agenda of what we want.
Do you think if she had said, I'm going to introduce legislation for reparations for the enslaved black people who, you think black people would have came out and forced her?
I think she would have energized black folks, and the damn black folks would have been knocking the poll dough down. But because she never took a moment to energize black people into her corner, black people said fuck her. You know, because she was talking about abortion. We don't give a shit about that. We do, but we don't. What we really care about is what you doing for me. You know, Jenny Jackson said it best. What have you done for me?
But abortion, gay rights, all those extended rights, right?
I mean, this is what I'm saying. It ain't got shit to do with us, but it's all over the country. They putting that shit up front. But when it comes to putting our agenda, reparations, in front, ain't nobody doing it. And they're not doing it because we are not asking them to. All we need to do is start a petition, and we can get probably 30 million fucking signatures. We get a lot of signatures.
Well, let me ask you a question. You said we need to start a petition.
Yeah,
We got more civil rights groups. Why can't the NAACP start a petition?
that's a great damn question.
Why can't the Urban League start a petition?
Today. Why won't the NAACP say a damn thing about reparations?
Why won't the Urban League start a petition?
The national office won't allow them to. If this office of the NAACP sends a letter up asking for reparations, I bet that'll be the longest tap dancing letter I ever seen in my life coming back.
But you talk about a petition. You talk about a petition. Why can't one of the national civil rights organizations? How about the national? I can't think of it, but it's a combination of all the civil rights groups under one umbrella. Why can't they go out and get petitions? And
I looked at national black organizations, and and all the names I saw was bullshit names, and they got bullshit causes.
Keep talking.
They got bullshit causes, and they're not creating these organizations for political or for reparation purposes. I couldn't find organizations in support of reparations on the internet. So maybe that's what I need to take a look into right away. Forming a national 2001, 2003. Forming a national.
They haven't changed.
Organization for reparations.
This is the National Directory of African American Organizations.
What's under reparation?
But no, they're not listed. They're not in here for reparation.
So how would you know which ones can
what
be?
I'm saying is, it wouldn't have to be just the NAACP. If we got this many black organizations, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could all have petitioning their members.
They're not doing that. We got all these churches can do the same damn thing. Why they don't have a petition moving in their churches? I'm thinking that this is what might need to happen. If we form a coalition of 5 people, and 5 people go to 3 to 2 churches and ask to speak about reparations in their churches and have them sign a petition, if we can get the preachers to agree with it, they meet on once a month basis. Why have nobody met with them? That's a great idea. I might just do that myself. Meet with the Preachers Coalition and ask them why are they not talking about reparations. I mean, that's the question. Why are these organizations not talking about reparations? Because they don't think they're gonna get it. But we may not get it in our lifetime, but we can start the groundwork for our ancestors.
Let me ask you a question.
To get it.
If the civil rights movement got us the freedom to ask for anything that we want, why can't the younger generations start a petition? I mean,
that's the only thing gonna get this started.
These are all black organizations.
Why can't we write a letter to all those black organizations asking them to do? Are there addresses in that book too?
Addresses, phone numbers.
I think that may be the start process is write letters to all black organizations in that book, asking them to start their petitions, or write a letter to all the churches, or even just get one church to stand behind.
All the church organizations, all the church parent organizations are in this book. I'm telling you, every black.
Not one of those books. Is it got an index in there, a glossary in the back or something with say reparations? Maybe we can see what groups might be focused on reparations, which I don't know one.
Let me see. Let me keep talking.
I think that's where we are right now. The basic people that ain't got no damn affiliation with bullshit organizations, got to start a petition and just start getting signatures, and then meet under one umbrella and start providing those petitions that are signed. We create one document that's the same for everybody that intends to get signed up for us asking our Congress to address reparations, if we send a list up there to Washington, D.C. with 30,000 signatures, I'm absolutely sure it'll get on the docket, and we'll get it talked about.
Not with 30,000
But we got to do that on a regular basis, though. We just can't fill out the petitions and submit them and not expect something in return. We need to show who we are and how are we descendants of slaves, and that is for the individual. If you don't know that you're a descendant of a slave, you got to figure that out on your own. I mean, this is something that we have to do as individuals. And if we don't do it, it's not going to ever happen for us. We deserve reparations, and we should have been paid reparations like everybody else. Even the Japanese got paid, the damn Holocaust victim got paid, and they had no length of time near what we did. If they paid them, $2 billion, we're worth $200 billion, even more than that. And we are not getting our just due because we're not working together enough to get our just due.
Okay, there is an organization.
We haven't been in a city council meeting.
There is an organization
failing our people.
It's called the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. NACOBRA.
Okay. How long they been around?
They've been around for a while.
I mean, if we could get that, I could post it online, and we could start talking about people that are working on reparations. Have they done anything?
The National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America, NCOBRA. Dorothy, they're based in Washington, D.C. The National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America is a coalition of organizations and individuals committed to the economic, cultural, intellectual, political, social, and spiritual empowerment of Black people in the U.S. It's governed by its membership through its annual National Conference Board of Directors. Its mission is to achieve reparations for Blacks for slavery and its continuing effects. They have an annual conference held in July. I'll send you that so you can post it.
Okay. Our major goal is to restore our people. We can't restore our people when we are not asking for it as a group of people. This goes all the way back to where we talked about on many shows. We are not formed as an individual group. We got too many names associated with us that have been just arbitrarily thrown into the picture, and we use those names like they're real. And see, America knows that we're not African American. They know we're not Black, but yet when they produce documents, they all put, are you African American? Are you a descendant of Mexican heritage? They put these bullshit ass questions on all documents, asking you all the shit that you're not. And as long as we continue to call ourselves African Americans or Black Americans or colored or Negro or nigger or any other thing that they gave us, then we are assisting them in holding and suppressing us, basically. We cannot continue to ask our suppressor to give us anything. A suppressor is a suppressor. And no matter what color of skin or what type of clothes that they put on, it's the same underneath. It is a suppressor. They suppress every single thing we've attempted to do. And they've done it from the 60s to 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I mean, everything that has happened positive for Black people in America has been dealt with from a negative perspective. Every single thing.
But I guess what I'm saying is, we got so many organizations out there, and I used this book when we was working. I was working on a campaign, tobacco-free kids, to eliminate menthol cigarettes from to get rid of menthol in cigarettes because they're targeted toward the African American community. And we tried working with a lot of these organizations, and we have a lot of organizations, but there is a group focusing on reparations, but there is no concerted effort and no political will, if you will, because that should have been on. That should have been on Kamala Harris's agenda. She's talking about instead of paying, Al Sharpton $500,000, support reparations. Run billboards.
Al Sharpton don't talk about it.
Run billboards in the South supporting reparations.
With all that extra damn money, yeah.
You get more black people out. White people are already turning out for their candidate. Black people stayed at home.
I think that they would even turn out for us if we would just ask for it. If we put forth the effort and showed the representation, then we would have just as many white people as black people supporting what we're talking about. I mean, reparations is something that's due, and we're the only ones that haven't been paid it. And as long as we are not asking for it, we're not going to get it. And we can't ask for it as individuals. We got not one person sitting up in Congress or anywhere else. We got to ask for it as people, as a community, as a neighborhood, as a society. I mean, even any group that we have, if it's got a base, a foundation of operating, then that base, that operating base, and that group should have the balls to put out a petition asking for reparations. And they could, and I mean, groups, I mean, all these damn groups we got, and nobody got a petition going, not a single petition for reparations. Yeah, all those damn groups, and not one person got a damn petition for reparations. That's the only way we're gonna get started. We can't get started just talking shit and fussing, saying we need to get paid. Something need to be documented. And the only way you can officially document something that the whole other people accountable is through some reparations.
Guess who paid? It's kind of ironic. Guess who paid for this book to be published? Philip Morris, the cigarette manufacturer.
The what? The cigarette manufacturer. Paid for what book? The black book?
Yeah.
The cigarette company paid for that book. See how they damn just throw you off track by paying for a black directory of all black organizations. They know where to pay their money to. Anybody that get a good footing on moving forward in black history, somebody gonna pay them off.
Sponsored by Philip Morris Companies Incorporated and the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies, that probably the one that came up with the listing. And Philip Morris paid for it. Paid for it.
We had an organization here in San Antonio, and it was grading all the major corporations. And every month they were getting Fs, Ds and Fs, and Ds and Fs, Ds and Fs for the first 6-7 months. I was part of this organization. Then all of a sudden the organizations figured out a way to get around that. They started saying, hey, why don't you hold your next meeting at our facility over here, and we'll provide everything. And that's what they did. They provided food, they provided the facility, they provided a tour of their operation. Oh, so all of a sudden you up to a B. How the hell you do that when you still ain't hired no damn body in these departments? You ain't hired a single person more in your company, black, than you had when we first was giving you an F. But now all of a sudden you getting a B or a C when you still ain't hired nobody. You had to pay somebody off. And that's what organizations do. They have money set aside. Give him some hush money. Shut this MO up so he don't ruin our relationship right now or stop people from wanting to support us. So they'll pay people off in a heartbeat. And I ain't seen the money transfers, but I've seen the change in our purposes. I even been told that we, even in an audience full of people, when they line you up for questions after that, they put out the information. Well, your black business don't have enough performance history. Well, at first you telling me my paperwork was wrong. Now I got all my paperwork straight, and I still haven't gotten the contract. So you telling me now, because I don't have any major contract, a prime contract holder experience, you are not going to award a contract to a black business unless they have some years of experience. Well, that defeats the purpose. We can't get the years of experience doing a particular job when you won't give us a contract to do it. You know, you could be out there making just sidewalks and patio floors, but when you want a city contract, they want to see that you've had some performance history with the city. And if you don't, you're not going to get in unless you're a favorite child and you got an inside story or you got somebody working for you on the inside. Then you're going to get that contract, which ain't going to help nobody but people, the white folks that gave it to you and you. You're not helping our community by doing that.
I guess what I'm saying, one thing that these subjects and things that we talk about make you realize is just how disconnected the organizations, the black infrastructure is from one another. And in terms of what we talk about and in terms of what politicians are or are not doing, it's a wide gulf, man. And then when you look at life on the ground, when you go back to Mississippi and see life on the ground, or you go back to the Black Belt of Alabama and you see life on the ground, or you go into those cities like Baltimore and see life on the ground, there's a huge disconnect between what we're talking about and the solutions in the reality of people's lives.
It doesn't match. Our communities are a direct reflection of the lack of support from America. Every black community can show that it's not part of America. Every Martin Luther King Boulevard can show that it's not part of America.
Right.
It's not part of America because there's a certain stigma that we're going to keep this little geographical area locked down where it can't prosper to a level of this neighborhood or that neighborhood. What some streets you see holes in the streets that never get repaired. Some houses you see broke down cars. You know, the participation in government is not only just running for office. It's about keeping your community or uplifting your community or paying the city service workers enough money to do the service you required in this city. But see, this is a great point you just brought up. In my city, going back home to Mississippi, there are two governments. One government maintains this side of the city and the other government maintains this side of the city. This side of the city is where I live. Nothing is repaired there. I mean, there's a street hole that's been there for the last 20 years. And no matter what complaints or fussing you do at the city, the street hole is still there. But if you go on the other side of the tracks and see what's over there, you'll see that there are no street holes. There are no dead possums laying next to the road decaying. You know, no gravel roads with broken glass and everything else on your street. The garbage people don't clean the ditches and stuff like that. It's just too many inconsistencies in our communities to say that we are part of America. We've been neglected. Our communities have been neglected, and every black community seems to be selling out now to what they call them, retrograde, when they're doing these communities. We're losing every single step of the way, especially in the rural South. There's so many little black towns dying down there. And what was the purpose of having 25 black towns in Mississippi right now? The purpose behind those little black towns is to keep black folks separate enough where they can't prosper. Just like when a black community was prospering in the 40s and 50s, they bring the highway right through there and split it in half because they were doing too much. They were growing too much. And if you look back at where we were when we were all in our segregated world, our communities prospered. Our black men had careers. Our black men presented themselves as professionals in our own culture. But we don't have our own cultures to present ourselves anymore. We don't have the role model black men to show how business is done in our communities. That's why our kids have no idea what is required to change a community. They don't have a damn. I don't think they have any idea about the blackness and why you're not where you ought to be as a black person. None of us are at the level we should be at right now. None of us. Because along our growth path in life, somebody put roadblocks in front of us that we didn't even see. We've been denied so many times that we don't even recognize a denial when we are denied something in society. So that is, for instance, when you go into a grocery store and you hand the clerk some money and they put your change on the counter, some of us will just pick it up and walk on out. That's a denial of self-respect and a position in society. You're being denied the human being that you are, and you're not being treated like you should be. And all that, not just that little grocery store incident, the entire operation of life for black in America has been shortchanged. And the only way we're going to come up to the level that we supposed to be in is through reparations, and not just money. We need to be given these things to let people know that they fucked up. They took all this stuff from us. So we need to have money. We need to have land. We need to have taxes taken care of. We need to have property taxes taken care of, auto insurance, health care. All this stuff is something that we should be given as descendants of slaves. And therefore, the money that we are expending to maintain stuff like healthcare, to maintain stuff like insurance and taxes, that money no longer goes out of our pocket, especially when we get a paycheck. That paycheck should not be reflecting a 30-year-old damn money gone to the fucking government. They already took it from us. Why are they still taking it? They're still taking money out of our pocket.
I just wish that we had the same zeal for reparations as we have for some of these other progressive issues like abortion, LGBTQ rights.
You hear that shit all the time. It's on air. It's on NPR, the National Public Radio. I mean, I listen to the radio relentlessly, NPR, and when I'm hearing it, I see if this is a call. Can I help you?
Hi, Mr. Smith. This is Jocelyn with Statewide Remodeling. Calling because you requested
not a good time right now.
about
Nope, that's not a call in. Wrong answer.
But you know, I'm just saying that we got the organizational infrastructure, we got the black elected officials, many black folks, we got the churches, we got the institutions, we got everything that we need to demand accountability by our government in terms of reparations, but there just seems to be no will. John Conyers introduced legislation in 1984. It's been introduced every year until his death. Sheila Jackson Lee picked up the mantle, but there is no institutional, organized effort because there's no money behind it. There's no money for it. These groups, and my beloved NAACP, whom I spent my professional life working for, there's no money for that effort. There's no money to mobilize people behind.
Why is that though? Why does the NAACP have no money for reparations?
Well, I guess what I'm saying, you know, the NAACP got lawyers. They could file a lawsuit. There's a Washington bureau that could have that on. I don't even know whether it's on the political agenda in Washington D.C.
Haven't heard it.
I haven't looked it up lately, but look on the.
What's on the local agenda? How many local officials have you heard say anything about reparations?
Well, I got to take my daughter to the youth council meeting next week, and I'll ask them. When the last time you heard reparations mentioned in San Antonio by the NAACP?
I have never heard it mentioned.
When have you heard a community meeting to?
Never heard it mentioned.
Petition your.
That's why I say it's about the individual, like you and I, going to City Hall, getting on that 3-minute docket and talking about reparations. If it's not talked about, it's not thought about. Same with the damn black people in America, same with slavery. It was a point in America that we didn't want to talk about slavery. And it's still, matter of fact, they've done everything in their power to erase the history of slavery from our education system. And it's done. It's done right now. There's nothing in history about slavery. It's shit about and Rosa Parks. There's nothing in our history predating the Civil War. Nothing in our history books.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had a history before the Civil War, we had a history before America. But we've allowed them to systematically erase us as a significant being, the black man. We've had to, and if you gotta see it, man, it's a systematic approach to belittle all black men in America to no existence. And once they get rid of black men, the women are freed for them. That's what they want. They want more black women right now married to white men than you can possibly shake a stick at. And that is not because black men are not available. That is because America has tried to put a blemish on black men.
Hey, brother, I gotta.
Go ahead and do your closing statement.
Yeah, I gotta. Well, I guess my closing statement is this: America. I mean, Black America has to want reparations. Black America, whether you're Baptist, Methodist, whether you belong to the NAACP, belong to the Urban League, they need to hear those voices that really want reparations. If there's legislation that's been introduced, we got more representation than we've ever had in Congress. We got more black elected officials around the country than we've ever had. And I just think our voices need to be heard. I mean, I don't. I'm here in Houston. I don't hear the horn play every day when it comes to reparations. I just don't see it, brother. But sometimes things happen with politicians you don't expect to happen. I mean, we got a new administration coming in that don't seem to have an ideological tilt one way or the other. And this may be the time to raise our voices, to demand reparations. The legislation is there. And sometimes, like with Johnson and the voting rights bill, came at an awkward time. Who would have ever thought that a Southerner from Texas or Dixiecrat would pass the voting rights bill? So history is unique in that way. And we may be in a unique time. And I think this show, by talking about reparations, I think it's a timely show, and I think it's a timely topic. And hopefully we've stirred the wheels in a lot of people to make that phone call, to reach out to their congressional representative, to demand that their voices be heard through their local organizations, their churches, their groups. And let's get the ball rolling.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Mr. Claude Foster, our co-host for the Black News Network, BNN 247. I want to thank him for his participation today and look forward to next Sunday us having another detailed discussion. So thank you so much, Brother Foster. Appreciate your.
See you next week.
All right. Ladies and brothers and sisters and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Black News Network. There has there has been a lot to occur, a lot of information to pass, and I want you to just hold tight for just 1 second. We've had so much to occur in America about our history, and we've had so much of our history lost because many people don't want the world to know the atrocities that we faced here in America. So I ask each of you to think about these reparations that we've talked about, and to not only have money on your mind, but to think about all the other things that can associate with the reparations. There's no way we should be 10 times behind the wealth of white people. That is so damn shameful for in a country that we built. And as a people, it is our responsibility to take initiative for our own future. And we are not grasping some of the very, very significantly important acts that we need to focus on. And one is, if I know we may not get the reparations at our age, but somebody as descendants of slaves should be able to benefit from reparations now, not 10, 20, 30 years from now. Now. I mean, at one point in life, we're going to have to bring our people to a certain level where they're not 10 times behind. We got to bring, I don't give a damn how much money a black person got, we're still 10 times behind. We got to do better. And if you're trying to erase a culture, it is so easy to do when you deny them economically, because they never will have the resources to put forth the effort of equality. And all we want in America is justice. And all we want is to be left alone. And that seems to be the hardest thing for us to do. You know, we want to restore our people to a level where they were before you inducted us into slavery, because I'm absolutely 100% sure people were somebody before they became slaves. And if they were somebody before they became slaves, then that makes us somebody before they became slaves, because we're descendants. We are of the same genetic buildup as people who built America, the former slaves. And we have no damn, I don't even know how to put this part. We have to have the desire to want to equalize the benefits that we should receive here in America. And if we're going to do that, we got to start at the bottom with a petition in our city and local government. So without further ado, I'm asking you to go to your city government and ask them, or start a petition with them, or start a representation with them, knowing that reparations is an issue that our local governments should be addressing. If Everettsville, Illinois can get reparations for the people, black descendants of slaves in their city, then I don't see why San Antonio can't do it, or Houston, or any of the major cities here in America have to be the ones to start the reparations. We can even start at the local level, as low government impact as you can. And if you count on the NAACP, you can forget it. If you count on any other major black organization, you can forget it. I don't know where the churches stand on this, but I know that they got the people, and they should be following reparations, or trying to understand why we don't have reparations. And if you really want to get reparations, start letting people know how much money they have lost because they don't have reparations. how much money they can't get because they don't have reparations. All reparation does is restore people to the rightful level that they should be on. That's what it does. It does not give me a pocket full of money to go spend in the economy. It gives me the balance that we should have. And that's what we're asking for, to be restored to our levels before we became slaves of this country. And because we are descendants, then that makes us the same people. And if they never get it, it's our action. So let's start our action.